Having a child with autism can be challenging. Having a child with a rare form of autism known as pathological demand avoidance can be even more so. And parents are crying out for support across the country. We've been told exclusively that GPs in some rural areas are being forced to apply for extra, separate cash to diagnose autism in patients, not something they have to do for cancer or diabetes or heart disease. So why autism? Meanwhile, the National Autistic Society say families with violent children are being put in danger because they're not getting support quickly enough. We've been to meet 3 children and their families who have pathological demand avoidance. Some children with PDA, not all, but some, have meltdowns which they can't control. Just to let you know, this film from Noel Phillips contains some images that you might find upsetting.
I get very, very mad and smash stuff.
For as long as I can remember going to them, I have been saying to them that I think I need more intervention than just taking my medication.
A cry for help from autistic children struggling with their mental health. What do you think will happen if you don't get that help and support?
I think I will end up getting arrested.
We investigate the impact this is having on parents who tell us how the authorities are failing to provide their children with proper support.
Children's services have said numerous of times that there is nothing that they can do to improve or change our situation.
Despite years of government promises, why are services still so underfunded?
This is a government that is actually ensuring that mental health is given the attention that it needs.
There are times like this when Jamie is like any other child his age. But he's not your typical 7-year-old. He has a rare form of autism known as PDA, or Pathological Demand Avoidance, meaning he goes to great lengths to avoid situations that cause him to be anxious.
Knives, anything that he can get his hands on has, he's come at me with, because he's pulled curtain poles, the curtains off the rails, and he'll come at me with those, spat at me.
Ow! Jamie, stop doing that to me, please. It really hurts.
This home video recorded by Jamie's mom shows what happens when anxiety can quickly turn into violence. It's early in the morning and Jamie doesn't want to go to school. He's anxious and is finding the situation stressful. Shocking to watch, but this gives you a glimpse of why his mom is desperate for help.
Oh, Jamie! Oh, I really need this to stop.
Part of me can't believe that that's my child in some ways, because we have really good times, and when I see that, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's quite traumatic, really. He could drop a bit of paper on the floor, and I could say, Jane, please can you pick that up? Rather than picking it up, because that's a demand, you could have half an hour plus meltdown, because I've asked him in a direct way to pick that up. He went upstairs to the toilet and then came out I managed to get him out of the toilet because he locked himself in there, and he's just chucked everything. This is just manic, and I can't. And I'm doing this from a broken iPad that he's smashed. I just can't do this anymore.
Jamie, who also has ADHD, was just 3 years old when he started becoming violent. But a long wait for his diagnosis forced Kate, who is now a single mom, to spend nearly £10,000 to get a private consultation. GPs are usually the first point of contact when it comes to recognising autism. But there are concerns that doctors in rural areas are having to apply for extra money in order to refer patients for diagnosis.
There are some parts of the country where GPs have to apply for exceptional funding to get a diagnosis or refer for a diagnosis of autism. We don't have to get exceptional funding to get a diagnosis of heart disease or cancer or diabetes or depression. Why on earth should we have to get exceptional funding to get a diagnosis of autism?
Jamie, can you tell me, when you get very angry, what happens?
I get very, very mad and smash stuff. I have a very, very, very bad meltdown.
Do you remember those meltdowns when you have them sometimes? How do they make you feel?
Bad.
What worries you about having autism?
Because everybody that doesn't have autism doesn't behave like I do.
My main concern is that he's a risk to himself when he gets like that, because he really is not in control whatsoever. If my son had like a more outward diagnosis, so if he had, you know, severe autism or he had some of those traits, spinning in circles and rocking, I think we would have got help. But because it's quite a hidden disability, you know, you're on your own. No one could see what was happening at home.
Try and get down. No.
Jamie currently sees a psychiatrist, but Kate wants more occupational therapy to help him cope with everyday situations.
Now, the harsh reality for Kate and so many other parents is they are simply not getting the help they so desperately need right now. For Jamie, it's clear he needs more support, but like so many other families, they don't know where to turn.
Yeah? Are you going on nights out?
Probably.
Already?
With you.
With me?
Yeah.
10-year-old Kearney is autistic and has also been diagnosed with pathological demand avoidance, as well as multiple anxiety disorder and depression. She often struggles to communicate, and when frustrated, as she frequently is, the family home becomes a place of chaos and violence. This is what single mom Erica and big sister Heidi are faced with most days. There are times even when the police have to be called.
I feel really bad when I hurt my mum, and I don't want to hurt her. And also, it's just what I do. Like, what I do to her that makes me feel really upset and embarrassed. I think sometimes I just think about it and just say, you shouldn't do this because you don't want to, and stuff like that.
Do you think you'll ever stop attacking your mom?
If I just get the right support, I will, I think.
Black eyes, bites, and scratches. Just some of the injuries Kearney has inflicted on her mom when reacting to the demands of everyday life.
This was a note that she wrote to herself, and she even titled it To My Future Self. I don't want a job, I don't want a life or a soul. I just want to cry my eyes out and I want to fail.
How does it feel reading that back?
Upsetting.
This is why Erica has had to give up work. Her daughter's condition, she says, has been made harder by social services who have struggled to provide regular respite care.
Stop it!
East Sussex County Council has told us they have not been able to find a suitable carer for Kearney since 2016, as there is a shortage of care workers for children with additional needs in the area.
We had an incident actually on Saturday that split my inner lip, where I got kicked in the face. So yeah, it's extreme violence. Children's Services have said numerous of times that there is nothing that they can do to improve or change our situation, and we remain open with them so that in the hope that they will fund respite, but unfortunately I have to source that.
The local authority, East Sussex County Council, has told us it's not always possible to find the services parents want or need, but they will continue to look at options with families.
If we allow this to escalate, there is very clear evidence from the UK that over half of the children who are demonstrating challenging behaviour at 9 will still be demonstrating challenging behaviour at 19 and probably at 29.
15-year-old Agnes is another teenager facing a battle of her own. She also has a diagnosis of pathological demand avoidance, which can cause violent outbursts.
I'd sort of had the knife in my hand and I was just doing that at it. I'd stuck the knife in and then like bent it and the end of it snapped, so it was sticking out the top. That one, I can't remember what that one was, but it was worse. I know it was really bad when that one happened.
Oh yes, that was. I've had started to repair the wall, but
I mean that one was at the end of March, wasn't it?
Was that when you were hacking at the plaster with scissors?
Yeah. I get quite physical with the people that are around me, which is normally only my parents. I'll threaten them quite a lot, but I'll sort of push them around or I'll hit them.
Agnes tells me she's self-harmed on numerous occasions and is not happy with how long she has to wait for appointments, including psychiatric help from CAMHS, the NHS department responsible for children's mental health.
The treatment that I've had with CAMS has not been very good at all. For as long as I can remember going to them, I have been saying to them that I think I need more intervention than just taking my medication.
We're very clear that it seems to us that there are a lot of people whose relationship wouldn't necessarily have survived what we have to go through.
No.
Because it is hard, isn't it?
It's very, very hard. Very hard.
To know that you're doing the right thing, or to feel that you're doing the right thing, and that.
I think the other really difficult thing is that Agnes's difficulties with her behaviour don't just impact me and Sian, but we've got two other young people in the family whose life is not great a lot of the time.
Hello. Hi. Good to see you.
This former government minister wants the NHS to do more to help families.
Well, the NHS fundamentally, together also with other public services, education, social care, are just massively failing these families. And in a way, we're abandoning families to try to cope on their own with extraordinarily complex circumstances. I mean, I think these issues you raise are really serious, and I will raise them in Parliament with the Prime Minister or with the Health Secretary, because I think we need to hold the government to account on this.
The government acknowledges the need to improve services, especially at a time of increasing demand for children's mental health provisions. NHS England say they're investing £7 million into crisis care for young people. For some, it's support that can't come soon enough.
What do you think will happen if you don't get that help and support?
I think I will end up getting arrested, which I don't want to happen. I just want to stay with my family and be happy.
What sort of help do you want for you and Mum?
So people understand autism.
It's a service that's supposed to be providing children and young people with mental health support, and for me, and I've said this to my mum, it feels very much like take this tablet and go away. We'll see you in a month.